Hello, welcome to First Word, striving to make God's Word a priority today. As we began the new year, many made resolutions and are striving to change their lives in some way. During the next few days, we'll look at the ways we need to acknowledge God in the new year. These principles are taken from Proverbs 3. Proverbs 3 verses 1 through 4 say, "My son, do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace they will add to you. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart, and so find favor and high esteem in the sight of God and man." We need to acknowledge God's direction, which is to learn God's truth. The challenge in verse 1 is, "Do not forget my law." To forget would mean that I am not mindful of, or I do not have a proper response to God's law. The first step is not being forgetful, is to be increasing in the knowledge of God and His Word. God reveals His law, in which is His will, in His Word. Practically, I acknowledge God's law by reading His Word, putting myself under the teaching of the Word, and working to memorize His Word. The positive side of this challenge is to let your heart keep my commandments. When our heart, that is our mind and will, is set on being obedient to God's commands, we will want to know these commandments by heart. Our desire to obey will drive us to want to know God's Word. In verse 2, the writer continues, "Do not let loyal love and faithfulness leave you." This mercy or loyal love is fidelity to obligations rising from relationships. And truth or faithfulness is that which can be relied upon because of stability. Combining these individual words becomes faithful love and gives us further meaning. The binding and writing is stressing that the teaching becomes second nature, a regular part of life. The ramification of this terminology are that the disciple is actually subject to the Lord, not the teacher, and that the requisite discipline is respect and obedience for the Lord and His teaching, and not merely for a human instructor. With these principles come some promises which are length of days, long life, and peace. One does not have to talk to too many individuals to realize that people desire long life. But even more than that, they desire that the life they have to be peaceful. Yet how many are willing to get to know God's Word so that they might experience it? All of those who are called according to His purpose. The second promise is to have favor and a good name by God and man. An individual may have a good reputation before man, but this goes beyond that to having a life of integrity before God and being pleasing in His eyes. These blessings are in opposition to the individual who is not faithful, who is promised in Proverbs 13:15, "The way of the unfaithful is hard." Thank you for joining us at First Word. Our hope is that you might acknowledge God's direction in the new year.